cents each for
But to make a living, an okay living, with insurance and
gentlemen.
expenses, you gotta be like 60.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the special town meeting,
Bill.
Selectmen, Highway Commissioners, Cemetery Commissioners. First order of business is rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The express purpose for meeting tonight is to briefly review the warrant, hopefully just sign it. FAA will be having a public hearing on Tuesday, I believe, in this room, 6:30. I believe it's 6:30 for a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to be heard on any of the warrant articles. This time I will turn the floor over to the town administrator.
Good evening, board members. You correctly stated the warrant is ready to be approved by the board. It's been reviewed by town council, and all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed. I think as I reported to you at the previous meeting, we have a total of $437,969 in available funds, and that's broken down with $309,632 in free cash, and raise and appropriate of $128,337. So what I need to do is I need to put pen to paper and distribute how those monies are spent. I think as I indicated to you previously, we hope to leave town meeting with an unspent amount of money, and also put an amount of money toward the stabilization fund. So that's what the goals are at this meeting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on specific articles. I believe the planning board has or is scheduled a public hearing on any planning articles, and there's a total of 40 articles on the warrant. Some of them are pretty significant, as you know.
Chairman,
Mr. Joseph.
2 quick questions. One, Greg, are there any changes beyond what we've had for a couple of weeks and what we've seen for comments from town council?
Yes, so there was one article that council and I have recommended we hold on, and that was the article that defined the role and duties of elected officials.
Okay, that's the one.
So that, yeah, and the reason why is we need to reconcile that and make sure that it's consistent with state law.
Okay.
There are some things that need to be done through special legislation that were ingrained in that also need to be done through
And that
special
doesn't
legislation.
surprise me that we're gonna recommend
But,
it pass
but
over.
the goal is to have that article ready for the spring.
Okay, my second question, can you say for the public who watches this, when the FAA, when the planning board is having a public session, when the
Yeah,
FAA is having theirs?
so the FAA meeting is on this coming Tuesday at 6:30 PM right here in the Municipal Center, and the FAA will be putting together its recommendations at that time. And if you give me a second on the planning board, because I wasn't quite ready, if you want to have any other questions, I'll get back to you on that.
I don't have any other questions.
Good, Mr. Chairman, can we ask capital improvement to come up and see what they have percolating?
Thank you. If you have any questions on, there's several articles for capital improvement on the warrant. So if you have any questions on any of these, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I don't.
Nope.
Are you recommending, Mike, any sources of funding being through debt exclusion?
No, not, raise and appropriate, we have, I believe, a couple.
There's one article that we would borrow on, and that would be the article for additional funding for the fire station project. So there
Is
is,
that new borrowing, or is that,
it would be a new borrowing because it's separate from the $6.5 million that was previously approved.
That's what Dean spoke to us about last
It is.
meeting?
It is.
Thank you.
The only question I would have, Mr. to Mike or to town administrator, the purchase of the dump truck for building and grounds, does it make more sense to have a truck at the highway department that can be seconded to building and grounds as opposed to one dedicated to building and grounds?
Yeah, you're 100% right. So I spoke with the acting superintendent, and the priority would be, as you stated, is the vehicle that would be at the highway department, not the vehicle that would be here for building and grounds.
So the 55,375, Article 38,
Yeah, the amount
Amount has changed.
has changed. I've got the new amount. So
70 oh, sorry, go ahead.
it's a bit higher. It's, hang on.
I have 75.3.
I'd say it's a lot for a dump truck, so
75.
anticipating
Wow.
question.
Yeah, Mike,
What is
you're,
it?
Mike, you're 100% right. 75.3 for purchase of a
Went
heavy-duty
up
dump truck
$20,000?
with angle plow.
Yeah, there's a little.
So it comes with the plow unit also,
It's
which
heavy duty, not
has
light.
caused the price to go a bit
350?
higher.
Yeah, it's not the.
19,000 GVW, so this is,
It's like,
That's big.
it's like Danny's pickup, isn't it?
It's as large of a vehicle that can be driven by
That's
someone who
still
doesn't have a
six-wheeler?
CDL.
No, it's a dump, it's a pickup.
What's that again,
No,
Paul?
can't be.
Yeah, it
Not
is.
it that way.
No, it's the heavy duty.
19,000 GVW
That's
for
what
a
it-
pickup?
That's what it says,
They-
Administrator said it's the biggest truck you can drive without a CD.
without a CDL.
no,
1-ton dump
you
truck.
can go,
Wait,
you
just
can
get
go
this
higher.
right.
Well, it'll be the biggest one in our fleet that you
75,000.
don't need to have a CDL for.
For a 19,000-pound GVW pickup truck.
Well, that says, no, 1-ton dump.
Yeah, no, it's
It's not a
one ton.
I just
six-wheel.
heard pickup truck.
That would be building and grounds, that truck.
1-ton dump truck or plow or with plow or
Dump, Paul,
similar
my
vehicle.
apology, dump.
Okay, so let's clarify. It's not a pickup truck. Not at 19,000 GVW. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's not, I took the liberties of adding pickup truck because I was looking at the,
Okay, don't
the
scare
other-
me like that.
So the source of funding, Mr. Chairman, through the chair, for that would be,
Free cash, raise and appropriate.
Yes, so, Mr. Chair, board members, the goal is to fund as many of the budget items as we possibly can through raise and appropriate. I indicated to you earlier that we have $128,337 in additional raise and appropriate that we can do at town meeting. We have budget transfers totaling $160,100. So what we'll do is we'll put the entirety of the raise and appropriate going toward that item, and we'll have a small supplement from free cash, and then the other items that are on the warrant will
Well
be
done.
funded through free cash.
Very
The way it
well
should be,
done.
Mr. Chairman.
Good.
So if we can switch vehicles to Article 39, this is the animal control officers vehicle. We're thinking that was gonna be a new vehicle, Mike?
Well, we received the.
That was the first time I've seen a number in there.
We received a bid for a new vehicle.
And that's why the number is in there, because we can go down off
You
of
can
that
go
number.
off, Right.
All right, that was, like I said, I didn't know what we were gonna do. with
Yeah, so
that.
we put in the highest amount that was presented to the committee.
same source of funding.
Yeah, so that would be free cash.
Okay, thank you.
Just trying to find,
Now, Mr. Chairman, if there are no other questions, I would move that we accept the warrant as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I have another question.
Mr. Carmignani.
Thank you. So we're putting on hold Article 19, which would be elected officers. There's also the selection in there that deals with the recall petition.
That's out.
We took it out.
That's out.
As a matter of fact, Rich, that's out, so the 19 that you talk about isn't even in the final version.
Correct. And I think I have an older one for, it would be Article 18, starting with, to see if the town will vote to amend the Dudley general bylaws. I don't have a date on my draft. Were there updates to that?
Article 18 would be FY 2019 adjustments for the fire department.
No, to see if the town will vote to amend Dudley general bylaws.
No, that's 21. That would be 21.
Okay. Would there, Are there adjustments to that? Well, they started through existing general bylaw
Yeah, I
showing
understand
proposed.
I understand what you're getting at, so.
Thank you.
So the first
spend
one,
number in these
which changes the amount of the board authorization for settlement from 2,000 to 20,000, there are no changes with that. And then the second portion of the bylaw, which is now Article 23, deals with personnel policies and procedures. And I do want to note that there is one change to this one. So if you can find Article 23 in your list, I kind of want to wait for you to see it.
Personnel policies and procedures?
Yeah, so turn to the next page. You see the dark shading?
I see the striking,
Planning with approval,
and then the bold
which
print,
article? 21?
bold print,
23.
A through F.
Yeah, go one more page, Paul. Go one more page.
There was a different edition.
Okay, here it is.
Just before 24.
There was this
Yep.
one, I do.
Bullet number 3, I'll read it. So it originally said employee benefits, services, and programs. Now says employee benefits, services, and programs, except that the treasurer shall remain as the insurance administrator and be responsible for group health insurance and workers' compensation.
Okay.
Which I think that's kind of what we talked about in response to the concerns that you had voiced previously.
Absolutely, it sort of solidifies the relationship that's going on right now.
Yeah,
So we're staying the course.
Okay,
so those are, you asked what the changes were, those were the changes.
so I would restate my motion then, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Jonathan,
One more thing about, just since we're talking about vehicles, just to get them all out there, there's another one, 27, about, police department wants Mike an F-150 pickup.
Yep.
Did, he was away, did he provide any other information?
He attended our last meeting. He brought he did a pretty good explanation as to why they would use that. We've been typically buying and replacing a police cruiser every year.
Right.
So this would be replacing, he's not sure which one of two he would replace, but this would be replacing one of them next
So,
year.
so that would be my question, Mr. Chairman. We're not, every time we're approving a vehicle, we're replacing.
We're
one.
replacing a vehicle, right?
The animal control, the old chief's car is going away. What about the building and grounds dump truck? Well, what are we getting rid of for that?
Or
Dennis's white.
I don't see us doing that, because what's gonna happen is we're squeezed between what we have available for funds and what the total amount of capital requests. So the total amount of capital request was just about $500,000, and we don't have the ability to fund all of those items.
Well,
So Mr. Chairman, as a matter of course, was there a vehicle scheduled to be replaced, or are we adding to the fleet?
No, that is a scheduled vehicle replacement. It's just we don't have the money to be able to do
Okay,
it right now.
all right.
also, to the administrator and to board members, this one kind of caught me off guard. Wouldn't the presentation generally come to us first?
Normally, yes.
And instead of process that
You
it's
talking about the vehicle?
the pickup truck for the police department?
Yeah, the police department pickup truck should have come to you.
And I only talked very briefly with Mr. Massey. He was here.
Yeah,
What
the
was-
FAA meeting.
Was a question asked, and whatever trail they're referring to be told by one of the explorers?
That was the question I asked at your meeting, but because those are already ready to be bought, he's got one more, I think, off the 3-year.
No,
thing you gave him.
he's
Or
bought the last one, I believe.
He did buy the last one.
He did already? Okay.
So
He
that,
did.
that expires, so we're gonna, unless
He's gonna
in
want
the
more.
future we go down the same route,
Yeah.
we're gonna be back to the, seeing if we can replace a vehicle every year.
So,
Yeah, but
just to circle back, Mr. Chairman, are we keeping track, Greg, of, we buy a new vehicle, we get rid of a new vehicle, we buy a new vehicle, we get rid of a new vehicle?
So I think that the trick is in the motion for that article. It should clearly state that if we buy it, we're also gonna be trading in one vehicle, because that's been the standard practice, is as we buy, we trade in or replace, so that the fleet doesn't grow any larger.
So I think my specific question is, for the past 5 vehicles that we've purchased under that 3-year plan, have we gotten rid of 5 vehicles?
That's a good question. I'd have to verify that with the chief, I don't want to mistake.
Mr. Chairman, can I suggest that separate from approving the warrant, that Mr. Uda's on the right track, and that at a separate meeting, we could have an agenda item that seeks to have the town administrator do an inventory, a vehicle inventory of all town-owned property vehicles that would drive over a road, and then we can ask for certain information, what's the model, what's the value, how long have we had it, and so on. And that would be really appropriate, and I'd like to see the answer, and I bet you all of us here at this table would like to see that.
We should have a fleet schedule in my office, sir.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah, I
that.
agree.
Well, I can't find the email string, but that was brought up a month or two ago by myself. And we did one a couple of years ago on, we did an analysis and like a need-based, because there was plates popping up on all these vehicles.
Is that the source, Mr. Chairman, of what Mr. Kamiani says that he has in his office?
Oh, he says he wants. Well, you do have a list of all vehicles somewhere.
According to the insurance, we should have these vehicles, these active plates. There's a ghost here, there's a ghost there. They're being closed out, and we have a pretty tight list.
See that, let me just add, if I cut you off, I apologize. That insurance will cover anything that's currently on the road, over the road. That is not necessarily a complete vehicle inventory. And we should know that information.
I would say we're only insuring those vehicles that we are driving,
Right.
and the ones we own.
So I guess the decision point, Mr. Chairman, is I don't question at all any department head that recommends, because they know better than I do, what vehicles they need and what they want. But I don't want to see, an example would be, we took the fire chief's car, we gave it to animal control, that changed departments. Now we have, we kept it in the fleet, we replaced one surplus vehicle with another, gave rid of a vehicle. But if we get into the habit of saying, we're gonna leave this vehicle on the road and then claim that we need to replace it twice, or 3 times, or 4 times, the same vehicle, and then just keep shuffling it along, then it's not really a surplus vehicle. It's either in service or it's out of service. Every time we do that, we're adding to the fleet. So I think it's important that we, like Mr. Joseph said, I think getting an inventory and getting out even ahead of these articles, I think is very important for us to know. I don't question for a second their expertise in deciding what vehicles they want, but it should be a 1-for-1, or it should be stated at the forefront that we are adding to our fleet. The expenses will go up.
And
That's why we need it.
again, it remains to be seen when we distribute out all the monies that, we're gonna have every dollar is gonna be spoken for. And there will be some items that we cannot fund. One of those is the pickup truck in the building and grounds department. There may be others that I'll suggest to you should not be funded, and that'll be your decision too.
Well, that was just my 2 questions, was
Yeah, that was mine. When are we gonna do that? After
After
those
Tuesday,
guys go through it?
that's right.
well, just like the need and use, I'm not saying I agree with Jonathan, I'm not doubting someone's need, but need
You'll
and
have the
use.
list by the end of the week, tomorrow.
I'm talking about the new purchases. This pickup truck caught me completely off guard. And then the other one, I
The
think,
pickup truck has been a holdover for a number of years. It's been on the list, but
on the
it's,
highway side, I'm talking
Yeah.
about the police department pickup.
You know
that,
what?
that's a new one.
Let me just remind you,
That's a new one, Steve.
we're here to put the warrant forward. I don't think it's absolutely necessary to have guaranteed list of everything that we own, whether it's on the road or retired, before the town meeting. It would be nice, but it's not a gutter. It's a nice to have, not a gut to have.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, to that point, so when we have the meeting where we go through all these, and
Yep, beforehand.
is we gonna do that before town meeting? Or are we gonna have a separate meeting to do that?
Town meeting's a week from Monday.
Right, I mean,
It might be advisable if you can get to the FAA meeting, that's the opportunity to me.
It's the 23rd, Mr. Chairman.
That's next Tuesday.
Maybe a joint meeting?
I don't know if I can get here in time. I'll be in New York.
Let's see what we can do.
6 or 6:30?
It's usually 6:30.
6:30?
I'll try when I can.
That's all, I mean, I wasn't trying to question the process to get to, I guess I did kind of in a way, but I wasn't planning on settling the process, is what I should say
Yeah.
tonight. I just, those are my really my only two concerns.
Okay.
It's both basically physical structure, you know?
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion from Mr. Joseph. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Marcy. Any further questions or concerns at this time? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. You can sign-
Unanimous?
Yes.
You can sign and.
We don't have an executive session, I move we adjourn.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn. Second by Mr. Marcy and Mr. Sigenovich. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in. Thanks,
See you
Fred.
at the town meeting.
Yeah, pack the place.